this was a go-kart last time you saw it. It's going to be looking very different very soon. Last video, I was waiting on tires to get this go-kart done. The tires are here. I'm going to mount them, put them in the cart, and I'm going to start riding this thing. First thing I always do is make sure that the wheel is the right size, or the tire rather is the right size. I know the wheel's the right size. The tires are the right size. So now it's just a matter of getting the tire on the wheel, and hopefully that goes easier than when I was trying to get the old tires off these wheels. Easiest tire change you've ever seen. They're not fun. I do not like doing it. It's a workout. So I've got a mixture of water and dish detergent here. Putting that around the bead, just things will slide a little bit easier. And easy is relative in this case. I just put it backside down in first because I have a much tougher time getting that all the way through. So usually I'll try to get the tire kind of started in there a little bit. I mean, it's not going to go all the way in just by hand because there's just too much pressure there. But if I can get it started, hopefully it'll hold in there for a little bit. And then once it's started, I flip it on, wheel down, tire up. And none of this is an easy process. It's just a matter of trying to make it less painful. So from there, I got pry bars. I have painted these wheels. I've got these pry bars wrapped in duct tape. Yeah, scratch the less paint off. Unfortunately, you just have to do this little by little, just prying a little bit of tire on the rim of while. You know, it's tempted to want to go on the opposite end and just try to muscle it in place. Maybe you can do it. I can't do it. Wish I could make this whole process easier. So of course, just getting it started, getting on the rim at first, it wants to come off at every single instance. Really makes you want to get a small tire mounter to make this whole process a little easier. So I'd put back in first, and then you just slowly try to pry that tire on there. So the pry bar curves. I try to do the curve out, try and get that bead of the tire on the rim. And really, to me, this is the hardest part. If you can get it on there at first, it's a little easier on the other end. Not a great deal easier, just a little easier. I say this just for myself, and that hook, this hooks out, and it's just hooking right on the tire and pulling onto the rim. Because I will reference this video next time I have to do these tires to remember how I did it, because I feel like every time I do this, I'm doing it for the first time. So, wheel is halfway in there. The next aspect is getting this wheel all the way through. It's in on the back side, and so that's why I do the back, because I'm tearing up that side of the rim. But this front side, the side that'll be out, I'm not tearing that up because I got that in because it's all about this one side. You're only working on one side the whole way through. So the back side, or rather the front side, the side you're not working on, does not get scratched up. So from here, what I do, I have a pair of vice grips. I've duct taped them, and I just clamp the wheel. That way the tire, like, you know, as you're working around, is going to want to come up on this side and come over. And that's going to undo your work, so you clamp it down so it can't. So from there it's the same process, but in this case when I'm trying to get the wheel inside the rim out of the hook curves down. I have it curving down into the rim, and I'm just trying to pry the rim over the edge of the wheel. Oh, you know what? I forgot to put dish detergent on that bead. That is going to make things slightly easier. And in this type thing, you want every advantage you can get. So this is why you don't want to be doing this to the front of your room, because I'm just scratching it up. Unfortunately, there's no way around it. So you can see you get a few scratches on the wheel trying to pry it through that tire. That's why I did the backside first. That way you're scratching the backside. When it's on the cart, you're not going to see it. On the front side, I got a little bit of rubbing on the front side on this rim where I had it sitting down and it's just rubbing up against the table. Not a big deal. I may go back and spray it real quick. I may just let it ride. That's it. It's slow going. Just go, little bit by little bit, just prying it around the edge, and eventually it'll get on there. Apply dish detergent often to keep it lubricated, because that will help it slide on there. You want it wet. If it's not wet, it's not going to slide as easy. That's it. So now, time to pump these things up. Hate to say it, but I've got to admit defeat on these tires. I'm going to have to take them someplace. I got them on the rim, but the way they were packed, I mean, you can see how flat they are. The bead is just so close together, I can't get it to spread out enough to seat on the wheel. I've tried ratchet straps. That has worked for me countless times. I tried a pan. I put the tire, this pan is like the right perfect size for the tire. Put the tire in there, put it on and started trying to pump it up. The tire would pump up and it wouldn't build enough pressure to actually seat the bead. So I'm just going to take it someplace. I'm going to let them handle it. I know there's a trick of starting fluid and lighting it on fire. I don't have any starting fluid. I'm a little hesitant to try something on fire, man. With my luck, I just don't think it'll go well. So I'm going to have to take it someplace. I'm going to do that. And in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead, put the engine on the cart. At least that. I can handle that. I've done that 3 times before. Hopefully I can handle it. At this point, I'm doubting all my abilities. But we'll see. If you have any tips, any suggestions, I would love to hear them, because I've tried everything I usually do, and it is just not working for me. Maybe I just need to go back to doing tubes. So there's a couple things I do whenever I set up the engine. First, I usually rotate this one turn just so the cord is up here. That way I'm not pulling into the back of the seat. This is the throttle. You can see it's very tight. There is a nut right here. I'll show you a better shot of that in a minute. I always loosen that because this thing, it should move back and forth with freely. If you push it forward, it should come right back. You just need to loosen that nut. Throttle bolt for the throttle is right here. There's that bolt right there. And all you need to do is just loosen it until the thing moves freely. So I'm just going to loosen it up a little bit. That's exactly what you want. Just keep loosening that nut right there till you're good to go. Something left with the engine, and this is crucial for your go-kart, is this is a low oil sensor. And in a normal engine, that's great. Low oil, we want to know that. On a go-kart, when you're turning all over the place, that thing's going to shift. You're going to hit a low oil sensor. It's going to shut the engine down while you're driving the car, because that's just the nature of go-karts. So what you need to do is, this oil sensor, you want to trace this yellow wire. So they're all here in this plastic connector. Let me see if I can pop that thing open so I can have access to these wires. There we go. And so this yellow wire goes from this sensor and it goes right into the block. And you just want to pull them apart. There we go. So that's it. I pried these 2 wires apart. Or I'll pull the green connectors back up, just so you don't have a bare wire. You don't want it to short out or anything. I just push it into the black connector, and that way it's kind of... So apparently this is my night for getting my butt kicked. Couldn't do the tires, having trouble with that connector, couldn't get the little plastic sleeve over the connector, but I just pushed it back in that plastic clip. See if I can get a good angle for it. You see that plastic clip right there? I just kind of pushed it. That is the wire right there. Just push in there so the end is in that plastic, completely enclosed in there. Over my other go-karts, that's how I did that one, so I guess I couldn't get it over that one either. But that is sufficient. I mean, I've done all my go-karts like this. And that way you're ready to ride, and the engine won't shut off due to the low oil sensor when your oil is sloshing around as you ride. So I said I don't typically run a safety switch because you have this knob right behind you, and if I need to cut the cart off or I need to stop it, there's behind me. But this yellow wire coming off of the low oil sensor, if you want to run a safety switch, run one wire to your moment switch. Most of the switches are just a toggle. They're self-grounding. So you run one wire from this. So we are very close to firing this engine up. I'm gonna put some oil in it. I hate the way like this go-kart is because this bar is right in front of the front dipstick. And in the back you got the valve coming the way, but I'm gonna get some oil in there. It takes 16 ounces, that's half a quart of 10 W30, which I happen to have on hand. Good old Pennzoil, so I'm gonna fill it up, put a little bit of gas in it, and we're gonna hear it run. Oil's in, gas is in, everything should be ready for the first crank. There's a little dial on the front that's set to on, which you need that on to actually make it run. There's a choke, you want to put that to start. There it goes. So cut it off, there's red down in front, just turn that to off and it's going to cut off. There you go, that cart is all set and it works. Now I just need to get some tires on it. Go ahead and install the clutch. You know, since I can't get the tires on, and do what I can. So that's the clutch installed. Sometimes you may need to run a spacer between the engine and the clutch. I've already run this same clutch or a different engine, similar type engine on the same cart, so I don't need a spacer. The way it runs, it's fine. So I'm going to put a bolt in the end of this. You do need the bolt, a fender washer, and a lock washer just so it doesn't back out. I don't remember the size of the bolt offhand. I'll put it up in some text over here so you'll know. So this is where we're leaving the cart. It's got an engine. It looks almost complete. It's just missing the very important aspect of tires. And these are the tires that are the bane of my existence. They're just mocking me. Alright, so that is all I can do today. I'd love to do more, but these tires, just can't get them. I thought I was done, but I'm not. So this is the throttle linkage. It comes up through that cabling, and the cable needs to run right through this nut and bolt right here. So you need to tighten it, but first you need your accelerator pressed all the way down, and then you tighten up that wire, so that way when you press the accelerator all the way down, it opens the throttle all the way up and you are ready to go.